Good evening. I'm delighted to have Nathalie Ducret with us this evening. Nathalie is one of the founding members of ORSC. ORSC is the French chapter of ORSC, the Organizational Relationships and System Coaching Method.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Janice. It was a pleasure to meet you 3 weeks ago, I think.
I did the basics, the fundamentals of coaching with ORSC 3 weeks ago.
And so I'm very happy to have the occasion, the opportunity to know more about you tonight. And I've got some questions. Is it okay for you?
Oh, please.
Okay. So my first question to you is, what do you do exactly for a living?
Actually, I teach Mandarin Chinese, and I also do a lot of expatriation coaching. So I work with individuals and sometimes groups of people who are going to China and who want to know how to prepare for that experience.
So do business people really need to have an intercultural training before going to China?
It really helps. People who go to China experience a lot of culture shock, and the culture shock can be quite severe and have really devastating effects on an individual's life. Culture is so different. People don't know how to interpret what is going on around them, and that can be very stressful.
And doesn't the same thing happen to tourists? Because tourists, they go to China and they don't meet so many Chinese people.
Right. That happens in a lot of countries. We live in Paris and we see groups, buses of Chinese tourists, and they follow the leader with the flag, and they stay in a very limited zone. And that tends to happen with foreigners who go to China. They don't speak very much Chinese, and they're basically frightened of any type of spontaneous interaction with people. So a company might give the person going overseas an English-speaking secretary, or the driver who takes them back and forth from their home to the company might speak some English.
And Janice, every book on doing business in China talks about the concept of Guanxi.
Guanxi.
Guanxi. And it seems that if you are a foreigner, you need to have your Guanxi to do anything in China. What does it mean, Guanxi?
Well, Guanxi isn't only for foreigners. Chinese people use and need and spend a lot of time, money, and energy in developing their own Guanxi. It's just how the Chinese social system works. It's a difficult concept to translate, and I think it would be interesting if we take that word apart and look at what those two characters of that word mean. And the first character is actually a verb. But let's look at the second character first. Take a bar, which means one. The radical in the middle is a radical for thread or silk. And just below that we have a character for little. A small piece of thread which we're going to close. The first character, guan, means to close. So in other words, Chinese people are trying to close the thread or make a very small or a very tight-knit connection with another person. Close the thread, form a tight, intimate connection. In English we could say a close-knit community. Guanxi means giving others a sense of belonging and creating a mutual kind of dependency. Now that might make Westerners feel uneasy, but Guanxi is what gives Chinese people a sense of security. When I talk to people about particularism or Guanxi in China, I have a photo that I bring in, and it was a photo taken by a tourist who was staying in a hotel in a very noisy city, and the hotel was right at this intersection. He took a room, I would say, on the 15th floor. He looked out the window of his hotel, and he saw this tremendous traffic jam. And cars were just, there was an incredible knot, and cars were just trying to get ahead any way that they could, and no one was paying any attention to the traffic lights. And the foreigner put below the photo, Chinese traffic chaos. And I thought, for many foreigners going to China, the whole system seems chaotic.
So that's why you teach Westerns to build their Guanxi?
I think I teach them the importance of building Guanxi, and building a good Guanxi takes a lot of time. And Westerners often go to China with a time is money mentality. So Westerners feel frustrated when they don't get their quick results that they want for Chinese people. And in general, since Chinese people have a different concept of time, it takes longer for them to establish a feeling of trust with other people.
Okay. So I saw that you have a YouTube channel, the Focus on China.
Right, that's a new channel.
Yeah, so why did you create that one?
I guess I want to demystify Chinese culture. People say, oh, the Chinese language is so difficult, or those people are so different, we'll never understand them. Well, Chinese culture is fascinating, and it's very approachable. And if you make a small investment of your time, you're able to learn a lot about how these people live and how they work and get along with each other.
Thank you, Denise. That was very, very interesting, and I know more about you and more about China. And I have to say that I've got an eagerness to know more. Perhaps the good idea to begin with is to watch your videos on Focus on China.
Right. Okay. Thank you for coming, Natalie.
Thank you very much. See you soon.